charities. Oh, good move there for Royal Navy.
Well, this is the move that I was talking about earlier. You can see the gate top right where they're all going through. This is a new military manoeuvre which has been designed specifically for this parade to reduce the flank frontage of 12 into a frontage of 6.
So it's sort of halving itself.
Yes. I have to say the Navy just executed that absolutely superb. See the streetliners there, still standing there. They've been there since 9 o'clock this morning as the Coldstream Guardsmen saluting the royal family.
And I want to talk to you about the 5-pace gap of the streetliners. How is that measured?
Well, you might be familiar with some senior non-commissioned officers. In fact, you see the garrison sergeant major in the background there, right in the sort of left middle of the screen, carrying a stick, and that's called a pace stick. And it is, when it's opened, it replicates a 30-inch pace, and they use the pace stick to get the 5 paces that they need between each street line. There was a pace skipping World Championships, Claire. Did you know that?
I didn't.
No. Held at Sandhurst every year.
He's looking at you in this He's only a year older.
Oye, papao.
Kings. But all of them will remember this. They're old enough to remember it, and everybody is there. It's a day they will never forget. It's a nice one from the boots and bonnets. Either side of the gold step coach. And the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Duke and patron of many charities, including the National Youth Theatre, the British Paralympic Association, the Recreation, Schools and Recreation Alliance as well. You can see the movement of the
pasa? Escriben ahí, ¿verdad? Aparte conectado al internet.
I think it might be fair compared to those, compared by those who are really riding on rough seas. On iPlayer you can, if you wish, select uninterrupted commentary free coverage, or if you require more detail on red button we have accessible commentary, also a signed version on BBC Two, and of course highlights on full coverage on iPlayer available immediately, and highlights tonight. You see there the very back of the procession. The front of it already has reached the gardens of Buckingham Palace, and the back of it now into its last section down the Mall, and colours being lowered as the
state coach goes by. Yes, the soldiers will use their rifles to salute, and then the young officers carrying the colours will lower the colours. And I was talking about how tricky that becomes when they are wet. It's difficult enough normally. When they're wet, they'll be 3 times the weight.
King Charles III is the Commander-in-Chief of the UK Armed Forces, and that's a role he inherited on the death of Queen Elizabeth in September last year. And he holds the highest rank in all 3 services, so Field Marshal, Admiral of the Fleet, and Marshal of the Royal Air Force.
Yes, of course, Captain General of the Royal Marines. You can see bottom left there is colour down, saluting as the King goes by. Talking of colours and flags, I think some of the horsemen have been heroic today. I'm sure the viewers have spotted a number of horses who've clearly been spooked by waving flags and cheering crowds. It obviously is a hazard of ceremonial duty, but it's amazing the way they manage to control their horses in such circumstances. Particularly the musicians, as I said earlier, who don't necessarily have hands on the reins.
And talking of horsemanship, you see the woman as the Princess Royal there, back right of the gold stagecoach, so relaxed in the saddle. And it's not easy riding. The point is, A, it's not easy riding, but B, riding in uniform, riding in boots that have no give, that are stiff, that makes it a little bit harder.
Well, they've also got spurs on as well, Claire, which are really quite sharp. And should they inadvertently allow a spur to wander into the side of a horse,
It will take off.
not ideal.
Private ride.
The Prince and Princess of Wales have been on a trip to Wales. They very much want to reinforce that link with Wales as a country, with Welsh produced goods. I think form an even deeper bond.
There's the Guard of Honour again. You see the stand of the Coldstream Guards. Only ever carried in the presence of the monarch. One of two colours.
He's done so well.
See the Sovereign's escort pulled off to the left. I don't think they'll be going into the gardens. I'm sure the gardeners
would like it.
very happy if those horses appeared on their lawn.
No, they will be taken back to the mews. And as the gold stagecoach disappears, we have one last look at Prince Louis there, and the Prince and Princess of Wales, and Prince George and Princess Charlotte. We will next see all of those who were involved marching on procession. We'll see them formed up in the gardens behind the palace, and their chance to personally salute the King and Queen. And that was impressive in scale and execution and accuracy and uplifting.
So uplifting and so unique to get representatives from across all the armed forces on parade at the same time together to celebrate the new monarch.
And full credit to those who have planned it and to the work that's gone in rehearsing some of those rehearsals through the middle of the night.
Well, indeed, and you know, we expect our ceremonial troops and others to do a good job. That's what we've come to expect. But actually, so many of the personnel on parade today it's not what they do every day. They come off their ships, they've come from their air bases and their regimental barracks all over the country and indeed the world to perform today. We can see the colours of all those regiments represented, colours and standards there around the Queen Victoria Memorial.
A wonderful, glorious sight hugely enjoyed, I think, by those present here, but also by those watching. And one last duty for those military personnel to perform.
Now, Claire, thank you. Well, to share their thoughts on this extraordinary day, our historian and broadcaster, David Olashoga, and Daily Mail writer, Robert Hartman. I think little Prince Louis is the only one who needs a little bit of CBeebies. The rest of us couldn't get enough of that. What a spectacle. Robert Hartman, what's your initial reaction to everything you've seen?
Well, I mean, to have seen, that's a medieval sight of a sort of a king in his shirt kneeling before the altar. The Zadok sort of builds to its crescendo, and then the crowning moment. Just sort of timeless, I mean, properly timeless. And yet the sort of fabulous parade that's come through the streets, the biggest parade since 1953. So we've got a lot, so much tradition there, but at the same time, so many modernising touches. I mean, there were so many elements of that coronation. And seeing the number of women possessing key roles, Penny Morton, one of the great officers of state, there right at the front, female bishops. It's a very 21st century coronation that hasn't really changed much since the Old Testament. Can I put it like that?
You can, and that's put very well. David, let's go then to inside the Abbey. As you were watching that, what thoughts were going through your head?
Well, as Robert said, I mean, this is an ancient and medieval tradition to see things that almost nobody has seen. To have adult memories of the last coronation, you have to be in your 90s. There's around 600,000 people in their 90s in the UK at the moment. That's less than 1% of us. Most of us, more than 99%, have never witnessed that. So a tradition that has lain dormant, as it were, for 70 years, can suddenly be revived and can be seen in all of its complexity, all of those layers of spirituality.
Robert Hartman, looking at the face of the King, there was a moment when both you and I sort of looked at each other, and it was the moment when the Prince of Wales pledged his allegiance and his oath to his father and kissed him on the cheek, and that was the moment that I felt that our King looked most pregnant with emotion.
I think it was incredibly touching for him, and it was a reminder of that moment in the Queen's coronation in 1953. All the solemnity, suddenly this sort of the serenity just sort of cracks momentarily when Prince Philip gave her a kiss on the cheek. And it's a moment where the sort of family breaks through all this tradition. And it's a very sort of reassuring moment. And he was clearly, I think, that to him, it was a very poignant scene.
And Queen Camilla, I didn't quite have time to ask you before the service about Queen Consort versus Queen Camilla. And of course it is good.
But what we saw today, it's fascinating. Go through the service, you won't find the word consort at all. Queen Camilla from beginning to end, and I think that's probably what we're going to see from now on. Inside the palace there, they sometimes refer to TQC, the Queen Consort. They can just do TQC, the Queen Camilla. They don't need to change it, but I don't think we'll get consort so much anymore.
Yes, the buyback Camilla bit was interesting. That was the moment, really.
She's in Latin. It's there. It's in the order of service.
David Olashoga, the parade itself, I mean, that contrast, as Robert Hartman was saying, there was a solemnity, understandably, entirely appropriately within the Abbey, and then the drums, they beat, and we suddenly all sort of raised ourselves up for that, even through the raindrops. Very, very colourful and vibrant, and it continues, this wonderful parade.
Well, the ceremony took us back to the 11th century, Westminster Abbey becoming the site of coronations. This is the 18th, 19th century. It's very different to 1953. The scale of military power is much, much reduced. In some ways that's very good. But I think the fact that all of this colour, all of this other traditions, martial security stuff.
And what about then this royal support? We're about to see something, again, that none of us have seen. It's one of those days in the back garden of Buckingham Palace. What is it about? What should be?
In a way, it's recognising the effort of the armed forces have put in. I mean, they've been rehearsing this sometimes through the middle of the night. They've always been standing there pouring rain. They're incredibly proud to come here and salute their commander-in-chief. But if you're on parade, the one thing you almost never see is the commander-in-chief, because you have to march in front of him. Certainly the street, most people can't see him. So it was an idea of the Earl Marshal, the Duke of Norfolk, put all this together, and the King, that everyone who takes part in the procession should be given the opportunity to actually salute their commander-in-chief at the end. So the idea is marching them through the garden. Sorry for the garden, I have to say, but
It's a bad day for the garden.
but we've got a garden party next Tuesday as well. So
Sick persona.
a lot of people as well. But they're going to march through most of them. Clearly, I think there's furniture and horses there.
Tomaron mucho chico ayer, ¿no? Mucha chela.
And they will line up, they'll form up on the palace lawn, very large lawn, largest lawn in London, and they will face their king when he processed through the palace now. He's obviously now, as we speak, getting out of the gold state coach, and receiving mostly of that side relief, well, there are a few bits to come, and he's walking through from the east side, which we're here on the witness front, he's going through to the west front, out onto the terrace there, and there he will take through all these treats, and I think we'll be very grateful for that, and we'll be very pleased to see him.
And let's join Claire again. I think she's ready to tell us the scene that has been set in the garden of Buckingham Palace.
Thank you, Kingston. King's Troop going through your shot there. And they play such an
¿Qué pasa, Andy?
mission.
Ven a ver a los patos.
Rare opportunity. And all those
Está todo lleno. Aquí le encuentro el lado B, el lado B. El lado B de la coronación. ¿Se ve bien o no? A ver. Encuentro la cámara. Ahí. Déjale 360. ¿Qué pasa, pato? Mira, ahí anda uno pato, como los que conozco, o como uno que conozco. Está pato ese. ¿Se escucha bien ahora o qué? ¿Se escucha mejor? Que estoy con el Bluetooth. A ver. Ahí está todo lo que da. El volumen. Todo el volumen, todo lo que da. Estoy aquí en Hyde Park, que está tan lleno que no... imposible ir a... Oh, ese andapato. Ese andapato como uno que conozco yo en un canal. Ahora mejoró, le subió el volumen, entonces parece que estaba muy bajo el volumen. Ahí sí, a ver. El lado B de la coronación. ¿Ah?
The Constitution session. So I guess it's necessary because it really does.
Bueno, aquí caminando ya. Oye, ha sido pero una jornada, no pude grabar mucho, sorry. Había muchos inhibidores de señal, solo se podían grabar vídeos para uno. Grabé varios videos, pero para mí, porque la señal online, obviamente estaba, yo lo suponía, pero el centro de Londres para estos eventos siempre la señal o sea, hay ciertos puntos que le dan a la prensa que la prensa sabe de dónde, estoy empapado, la prensa sabe dónde está los puntos de antena, ¿no? Pero la gente común no, entonces nos movemos para acá hasta inhibidores de señal. La del servicio secreto, ¿no? Pone todo eso, todas esas cosas. Pero bueno, aquí les muestro el lado B por lo menos. Aquí estoy en Hyde Park. ¿Se ve ahí? Para allá está el memorial de la princesa Diana. Aquí está lleno de guarenes. Me deja mostrarle los guarenes. Ahí está lleno de guarenes aquí. Ahí los guarenes están los guarenes blancos ahí. La gente alimenta a los guarenes. Salud, salud, estimado. ¿No se verá pixeleado? No, parece que no. Parece que la señal mejoró bastante, parece que la lluvia hizo bastante mella. Sí, los cola larga. Ahí está la... Voy a mostrar la salida. Se ve bien, qué bueno que se vea bien. Este es el lado B de la coronación. Así que como... Ahí están vendiendo banderas, así que también hay ambulantes. Todos hacen su negocio. Todos hacen su negocio para vender banderas. Me voy a ir por este otro lado de acá. A ver, ¿cuánto es? 14. Buen día. A veces se corta la señal porque, como digo, hay inhibidores de... Hay inhibidores de señal. ¿Ya? Entonces... Eso a veces... Ya me fui ya porque si no después va a ser un caos para irte para la casa. O sea, pero ya le pasó, no sé si vieron por la tele. Así que estuvo bonito, estuvo súper guapo. Salud ahí, Cristian Rivera. Salud, salud. Este es el lado B, como los de